everyone, you join me here with a 2017 Golf R 7.5. We're going to discuss a couple of what appear to be common problems with these cars. So this particular car is actually in with us for tuning. This is why the front end was off anyway. But what we found is that overnight it was actually leaving a puddle of coolant on the floor, which is not ideal when we're planning to put it on the dyno. So we did a bit of diagnosis. Unfortunately, it wasn't the header tank that the customer thought it was. What it actually was coming from is this thermostat housing here. So I believe it was potentially leaking in more than one place. But when we pressure tested it, we could see it leaking out of this bottom flange here. But also once I got it removed, I think it was leaking from this takeoff here as well. So I'm led to believe these are a common issue. This part's already been superseded by VW. You can see the old one here in my hand. The new one on the car is actually behind here. So if you imagine you've got the radiator pack and everything on the front of the car, this is the Wagner charge pipe I've just fitted. It's buried right in there behind the charge pipe. So you can do it with a radiator in situ, rad fan out. This way is obviously a hell of a lot easier, but quite labour intensive. So that job, parts, labour, coolant, etc. all in, you're looking at about £1,000 to get that repaired, which is going to stop it leaking coolant all over the floor or all over the dyno when it goes for tuning. But the bigger concern that we had is when we got under the car and found that the gearbox was leaking. So this is a DQS381, I think it is. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. 7-speed DSG gearbox. And what we found when we got under it is it didn't look quite as good as it looked now. It was wet with oil where it had been leaking, which again, when you're in for tuning, part of which we're going to tune the gearbox, so TCU flash, is of quite a concern. Obviously it's a major component. We don't want it prematurely failing, least of all on the dyno. So again, I had a quick look at it. What I've diagnosed as the problem is actually these large sealing caps here. So they're a rubberized sealing cap, which obviously when removed allows access to the internals of the gearbox, but when installed should stop the oil from leaking out. Spoke to VW about this. Only option is for a service exchange gearbox. So you're looking at costs in excess of £10,000 to have your gearbox replaced, fluids and everything like that. Just to solve the issue of these caps leaking, there's actually a third one just up here which is smaller. However, with a bit of homework, what I found is that actually AKS Tuning have available replacement caps on their own. So there's two of these large ones and one of the small ones. They're from L-Ring, which if you haven't heard of them before, they are a well-known, time-tested manufacturer of gaskets and seals that are used in the OEM everywhere pretty much. So I'm going to have a go at replacing these guys later on, and we're going to follow that up with a DSG oil change, which we'd advise obviously you guys doing if you were to have this done yourself. So what we've managed to do is bring the customer's cost down from somewhere in the region of £10,000 to what will probably amount to only about £300–400. So he's particularly pleased about that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to solve the problem. But just something to be aware of if you're either A, thinking about buying one of these cars, or B, thinking about tuning one of these cars, is that even at the low 37,000 miles that this car has on the clock, they're already presenting with some problems. But fortunately, we've been able to try and, well, we have been able to hopefully solve them in-house whilst it's here, and although slightly delayed, this car will be going on the dyno before it leaves us. So, good story in the end. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this has been informative for you guys. Like I said, if I did get the numbers wrong for the gearbox, tell me in the comments. Probably are wrong. But otherwise, like, share, subscribe. Keep an eye out for any further Volkswagen platform, particularly Golf R 7.5 material. Obviously there's going to be a video about all the tuning works that are going on with this car whilst it's here with us, so that will hopefully make for a good video as well. Thanks very much, see you next time.